If your face starts looking like a Hot Pocket, hair starts growing in unsavory places, and Mrs. Winterbottom down the block starts looking like a snack, then you're probably going through puberty. You don't have to feel alone though, because everyone went through this awkward phase, even the most famous hedgehog in the world, Sonic. Fortunately, this period of time didn't last too long, because eventually, Sonic grew up and moved into a brand new era. As soon as Sonic Team finished working on Nights into Dreams, their new project for the Sega Saturn console, they knew it was time for Sonic to do a comeback tour. Of course, you can't make a big return unless you do a rebrand, and boy, did Sonic glow up. Green contacts, leg lengthening surgery, and a couple Diet Dr. Peppers later, Sonic made sure you remembered who you made fun of in middle school. Sonic wasn't the only character to take a visit to his fairy godmother, because several of the other characters got makeovers too, most notably Eggman and Amy, who got completely new swag. These redesigns were done by Yuji Uekawa, another one of the legendary Chads in the Sonic history books. While he's most famous for basically defining the character design and visual style of Sonic since the 2000s, he's been a character designer for the series since Sonic R. While Uekawa was working on the new designs, the original Sonic character designer, Naoto Oshima, was there breathing down his neck the whole time with a paddle stick ready just in case the redesign started to look a little whack. The graphics for the stages got a big bump in quality too, as Sonic Team took a trip throughout Central and South America to get inspiration for the new levels, even using some of their pictures from their vacation as textures in the game. Talk about the grind never stopping. The visuals weren't the only part of Sonic's style to get redone, because there was a huge overhaul in sound too. Sonic's music never really had a definitive style to it, probably because when it came to music composers, the Sonic series had a higher turnover rate than Walmart, because these guys were in and out. First, Masato Nakamura for Sonic 1 and 2, Naofumi Hataya and Masafumi Ogata for Sonic CD, allegedly Michael Jackson for Sonic 3, Howard Drawson for Sonic & Knuckles, Junko Shiratsu and Mariko Namba for Knuckles Chaotix, Richard Jakes for the Saturn 3D Blast, Tatsuyuki Maeda and Jun Sonoe for the Genesis version of 3D Blast. Speaking of Jun Sonoe, he would take over as composer and sound director for Sonic Adventure. Sonic soundtracks were kinda like Kanye albums. You never knew what you were gonna get in the next one, right? One second you're listening to Beethoven, and the next second you're listening to Zaytoven. Sonoe concluded that there were two main styles of Sonic music: the Genesis era Sonic music and the house dance music of Sonic CD and the Saturn era games. But Sonoe decided that he would bring rock to the sound of Sonic the Hedgehog. And just like Uekawa's character designs, this would be the defining musical style of Sonic for the next decade. The audio wasn't just changed in the music, because we also finally got full voice acting for the characters. Sonic Adventure is actually pretty famous because the voice acting in this game is really terrible.
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
The voice acting got much better in the later games though. Most of the other actors would reprise their roles in Sonic Adventure 2, aside from Knuckles and most notably Tails, whose voice actor was replaced by his own brother. This cast stuck around for the rest of the Adventure/Dreamcast era until Shadow the Hedgehog came out, cause once that game came out, Sega Thanos snapped the entire cast and replaced all of them with the actors from the 4Kids English dub of the Sonic X anime. It was a move by Sega that allowed a consistency between the voices of the games and the popular cartoon. The captain of the Sonic Adventure ship was director Takashi Iizuka, who would essentially become the series director for the rest of the Dreamcast era. When bringing Sonic to 3D, of course there were a lot of directions you could take the series, maybe a 3D platformer like Mario 64, maybe more of an adventure game like Ocarina of Time. It was going to be an RPG. Iizuka early on wanted a Sonic RPG, but eventually they ended up on a 3D platformer. Apparently there was a ton of disagreement amongst the developers on what direction the series would go with its leap to 3D. Iizuka spoke with many of the different Sonic team members to try and figure out how Sonic would play in the third dimension, and as you'd expect, everyone had their own ideas. Iizuka even got some ideas from fan requests. To accommodate many of these different ideas, Sonic Adventure was split into 6 different storylines with different gameplay styles in each one of them. As a result, Sonic Adventure gameplay-wise is like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Sonic is your pizza, Knuckles is your chicken wings, and Big is...
It's time to kick it and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of gum.
I guess he's Hubba Bubba. Sonic is the most straightforward, being the fast, fun platforming of the Genesis Sonic games, but in 3D. To this day, I think this is the most faithful adaptation of classic Sonic into 3D. Tails is basically the same as Sonic, but instead of just getting to the goal, you're racing against Sonic. Amy's gameplay is just like Sonic's gameplay style, fast, fun platforming, but without the fast. And without the fun. Knuckles' storyline is where things start to diverge a bit, as his stages, while involving a lot of platforming, are more exploration focused, as you have to hunt for 3 lost pieces of the Master Emerald in each level. Gamma is very different from the others, as his style of gameplay is that of a third-person shooter. This one was directly inspired by fan requests that Sonic Team got for Sonic to incorporate shooting into the gameplay. If only they knew the pain they'd cause. The 6th and final character is Big the Cat, who'd bring easily the weirdest gameplay style. A dating sim.
Hi there.
Oh, sorry, I meant fishing. Apparently, Big was added to the game to give the player a more relaxing experience compared to the fast-paced excitement of the other 5 characters. I mean, I guess, but the thing that confuses me about this is if you wanted something more chill, why is this the music whenever you catch a fish?
Something exciting!
Technically, there is one other major gameplay style added to this game, a pet raising sim. Sega just couldn't resist getting in on that Tamagotchi craze. There are these little creatures called Chow that you could take care of, customize, and enter into competitions. The concept was based on a similar idea that was used in Nights into Dreams with the Nightopian creatures. While it is cool that Sonic Team wanted to incorporate different gameplay styles and make something everyone can enjoy, I think it ended up having the opposite effect. Sonic Adventure feels like it has the attention span of a 12-year-old on TikTok. 1 second it's Mario, then it's Gears of Wars, then it's Final Fantasy 15 Monsters of the Deep.
Come on, put your back into it.
Now, it would be one thing if all of these other gameplay styles were of good quality, but it definitely feels like the most love and attention went into the Sonic storyline, which obviously makes sense if you know the title of the game, but as a result, many of the other routes just feel like they were tacked on. I think the game has some fantastic highs, but it also has some doggy doo-doo lows. However, for its time, it was very well received. It had great reviews all over the board when it was released in 1998 in Japan and 1999 in the West. And not only that, commercially it performed great too, performing well in the West as well as in its home country of Japan, where you know Sonic has never really performed well, if you've watched some of my other videos. The Western release of Sonic Adventure was interestingly not the same as the original Japanese release. There were bug fixes and small changes made to the Western release, though Japan would get this updated version under the name Sonic Adventure International. Despite being released all the way back in 1998, Sonic Adventure, believe it or not, had DLC. These pieces of downloadable content weren't anything crazy, mostly cosmetic changes related to upcoming holidays and some time attack missions. One of the coolest ones was a European event where Sega collabed with Reebok to give away some free Reebok DMX shoes and other prizes to the players with the highest times in one of the time attack events. At the end of the day, whatever your opinion is of Sonic Adventure, maybe it's your favorite game in the series, maybe you think it's aged poorly, you can't overlook the impact it had on the franchise. The Sonic series had nearly died during the Saturn era with very few big hitting releases, but Sonic Adventure was the reanimation jutsu that brought new life into the franchise. New talent from the likes of Iizuka, Sonoe, and Uekawa would take the reins from the old guard of Sonic Team and truly make Sonic their own. The 90s were ending, and Sonic Adventure launched Sonic into a brand new millennium. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, there's a whole playlist of videos just like this one on the left side of the screen. If you want to be notified when I post a new video, then click on the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you'd be so kind, click the like button too before you go, as it really helps the channel grow. Thanks guys, keep your heart open, and have a good one.